I'm Elizabeth.
And I'm Cindy.
And we're here with another feeding frenzy for the 4 Spiritual Laws of Prosperity by Edwin Gaines. I can talk. That started out to be a tongue twister.
Yeah.
All right, so we're still on chapter 1, which is mastering money, but this is part 2.
Part 2, we talked a little bit yesterday about mastering money and how we were raised to talk about money and think about money and live with money and what it meant to us.
Right.
And we also talked whether it's right or wrong to be rich or wealthy or have a lot of money. So today I want to continue that.
Okay.
And talk about, is it really wrong to have money? Did Jesus have a lot of money? Was Jesus rich? Was Jesus poor? What does the Bible say about money? We're going to talk about some of those things.
Okay.
So, do you think, was Jesus rich?
Oh, I think
Did
he
Jesus
was.
have
I
a
think
lot
he
of
was
money?
rich in every area of his life. I think he was prosperous in all things.
Right. So rich may be the wrong word. I think he was prosperous.
Yes, I think he was prosperous
But I
in
think he
every
was
avenue.
wealthy and had a lot of
I
money
do.
as
I
well.
I do.
Why do you think that?
Because he did not, it never said anything about him having to beg. It never said anything about him having to borrow or steal or do anything other than he just went and he just traveled and he just did.
Right.
And in order to do that, even in that day, you had to have the means to.
Right.
Now, whether he actually had physical money to trade or coins or whatever it was back then that they actually traded. I know they traded in coins, but I know they traded in other things. Whether he actually had the actual physical things to trade, I don't know. I don't know that anybody knows.
Right.
But we know he had the ability and the means.
Right.
And that whatever he needed was given to him. So I believe, yes, that he was very wealthy. But he also wore, like it says in Scripture, a seamless garment.
Right, which she talks about in here.
Yes.
About how wealthy you had to be to have one of those, because took a lot of skill to make a seamless garment.
I've never seen one myself.
I haven't either.
I don't know about you.
I don't know that I have.
Even the sheet that I cover up with has seams.
Has seams in it, yeah.
It really does.
Yeah.
So I personally have never seen it, but I can imagine, even way back then, the kind of artistry and the skill it took to make that kind of clothing.
Right.
So I cannot imagine him not being prosperous in one area when I see him as prosperous in all areas.
I'm reminded of, I can't remember who it was. Was it Gandhi or one of those gurus where they said it takes a lot of money to keep him poor?
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
It was Gandhi.
It does take a lot of money to keep people like that poor, I think of Mother Teresa, and even though she probably doesn't have a lot of money laying around, but boy, she could snap her fingers and have $1 billion right away.
Yeah, and
those kind of people are prosperous and rich in more ways than just the physical money. They know how to manifest it in a hurry.
Anything they need. And I don't think it takes the accumulation of the physical thing that we exchange in order to get the things that we have. So I do believe he was wealthy, and I believe he was rich, but I don't believe he had to carry it with him. He was so good at manifestation that he just snapped his fingers and there it was.
Well, he turned water into wine. He also walked on water. And he found money in the mouth of a fish, or had one of the disciples go get money from the mouth of a fish. So, anybody who can do those things knows how to manifest like that. That's where I'd like to be. Just snap my fingers and it
sure be there.
Yeah. So
I think when we are in that kind of alignment, so in tune and so in a line, that we can't help but.
Right. And to get that way, we have to work on the inside. We have to work on the internal stuff. And then we become more prosperous, I think, just as a side effect.
Yes.
More or less.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. So I believe today, I didn't grow up this way, but I believe now that it is more than okay to be wealthy. It is that if you really work on getting in alignment with God and doing the right things, then you can't help but be
exactly.
wealthy.
That's what I was going to say.
And you can't not be.
Right.
That it will just come to you, and it's really not that we need to work on getting wealthy or getting more money or becoming rich. It's we need to work on ourselves and who we are, and remembering who we are, and that's what it all boils down to. Is we don't have to try to become what we need to be. We are already that. We need to get back to that and start peeling away the layers and work on the inner world instead of trying to make money in the outer world.
Once we take care of our own home, our own house, so to speak, the rest of it takes care of itself. And I think you and I both have seen manifestation of that in the last couple of years. We've been working on it together.
Most definitely. So now talk to me about affirmations.
I used to think that was what's the point? But I see and have experienced really great things by using them.
Really?
Because it's not, an affirmation is a statement of truth, a positive statement of truth that reminds you of who you are, right? That's my definition of what an affirmation is.
I would agree.
I have, just within the last couple of years, used them. At first, it was kind of a, I'll do this and we'll see what it does. But over the last couple of years of using them daily, and by daily, I've got them, taped to the bathroom mirror, and they're hanging on the wall, and they're everywhere around the house, just little simple statements that remind me of who they are, keeps me in that positive attitude. It keeps me thinking more positively. It keeps me looking for the right questions rather than agonizing over what's the answer.
Right.
Do you know what I'm saying? So it changes my mindset and keeps that in the forefront of my mind by using them.
What about affirmations that you just can't believe in? I mean, sometimes when we would go to Edwin's and she'd read this big group of affirmations and there would be some of them that just couldn't wrap my mind around because I wasn't there yet. I mean, I believed that they could be true. And we came to some of them in the statements for the 40-day prosperity plan.
Yes.
I just couldn't buy into that one yet. I would love for that to be true, but I just don't see it yet. How do you use those until you can see them?
I do.
Or do you just say, okay, I'm not ready for that one yet, I'll use it later?
Because then it becomes a tool to get to whatever's rubbing me wrong with it. Do you see what I'm saying? Yeah. Because the repeating of it then helps me dig in deeper to find out, okay, what's rubbing me wrong about this? What's underneath this that I need to get to?
Well, that's a good point.
So then I use it as a tool rather than a reminder. Now, once I'm finished using it as a tool and I get to whatever was rubbing me wrong about it, then I can use it as a reminder of, oh yeah, remember when I couldn't, but now I see, and I've uncovered this and I got rid of that, and it's now become true for me. So at the very beginning when I started with affirmations that weren't probably 100% true for me at the moment. But then I started looking at it, okay, it may not be true for me now, but if I can believe in the possibility of it. Like, let's say, I live in a rich universe, and everything that I need and want and desire is available to me at all times. That may not be exactly true for me when I look at my bank account balance right now. But if I open up to the possibility of it being true, then I draw to me the funds that I'm missing or the opportunity that I'm wanting or whatever it is. Do you see what I'm saying? Yeah. So if I use it as a tool, then I begin working on opening to the possibility of it, even when it's not 100% true for me in the moment.
Wow.
So
yeah, I see that. I find it interesting that a lot of times we see affirmations that people have written, and it's very hard to come up with good affirmations because a lot of times what I've seen is that they're more of a, I have to accept this fact rather than a true affirmation. For instance, there was one that I saw that I thought, wow, this is a good set of affirmations by a fairly well-known marketer, self-help person. But it was like, it said something like, you can't have it all. And I was thinking,
well, yeah,
you can. You can have it all. That's the one we need to use. So we have to be careful when we come up with the affirmations to make sure that they're really true.
Yes.
Or we'll be believing things that aren't. Right. And then there was a picture that I see laying over there that you had hanging on the wall. That, what does it say?
It says, live simply, give more, and expect less. I had to take that down because I can't expect less.
Right.
I just can't make that
more.
true for me.
Yeah.
I expect more. So I couldn't keep that hanging there because that wasn't a true affirmation for me. Yeah. And I want statements that open me and keep me looking at what is true, or what can be
possibilities.
true. The possibilities.
I'm getting to realize more and more that the only limits we have are the ones we put on ourselves.
Yes.
And that every time we say, oh, I can't do that, or somebody else tells us we can't do that, then we allow them to put limits on us. So it's our fear and the doubt that we have about ourselves. And we're learning in the Master Key that, fear is what holds us back.
Yeah. It becomes our own personal devil.
If we could get rid of all the fear in our lives, which I know seems impossible, but I want to believe that we can get rid of all the fear in our lives. And that was another thing that we've learned with Edwin is almost every workshop there was a fire walk to help us face those fears.
Yes.
And each time we would release certain things, mostly fears, that we wanted to overcome. And that's changed my life considerably since I started
doing it was also the process of releasing and opening back up to letting in, too.
Right.
Because we'd also bring in the things that we would want to bring into our lives. I have learned that affirmations are literally what I can believe in. It doesn't do me a bit of good to write one that I can't even open to the possibility for.
Yeah.
Well,
that's what I was asking about earlier.
And
I'm not there yet. I don't know that I can buy into that one.
Right. I can't put a negative statement in an affirmation and make it true. Just like that one that we were talking about when I wrote out the can't. I can't have the word can't in a positive affirmation and stay positive about it. So they've got to be personal. Or I got to make it personal.
Right. I can't take somebody else's list unless I internalize it first.
Right.
Just to say it by rote is just, that doesn't work.
It's just,
I got to know it and understand it before I can make it work.
Yeah.
So what I'm realizing, though, is she wanted us to have 21 days of 3 times a day saying our affirmations, and I forgot all about them yesterday, so I guess we need to start over. We need to have 21 days in a row, and
where we write out our affirmations, and I don't think it's, I think if you really want to get it in, you write it out those 3 times a day. But you write it out and you repeat them 3 times a day for 21 days.
Right. Now, I don't think she says you have to write them.
No, that's what I said. I don't think you necessarily have to write them out 3 times a day, but I think our instructions were to repeat them 3 times a day.
Right.
So I'm definitely going to do that and use the affirmations that speak to me. And then I'm going to look for a couple that maybe will challenge me. Do you know what I'm saying? Just to keep open, too, and start working with a new set of possibilities.
Right.
And do that 3 times a day for 21 days.
We're going to start that today, right?
So just like everything else, I'm not going to gain more if I can't believe that more can come.
Right.
I've got to be open to it.
Right. And I think the other really important thing that we really haven't mentioned, we have sort of, but not really, is that money is not evil.
No.
And as long as we feel that money's evil, we will push it away.
Exactly.
So we have to. That's our first step. I think we mentioned this in yesterday's video. The first step is beginning to love money. And I hate to say that because in the Bible it has that statement, you shouldn't love money or something like that.
The love of money
is the root of all evil. But it's the love of money, not the money, that's the root of all evil. And we're not in this for the money.
Right.
But as long as we are pushing money away, we're not going to get any either. So I think
it helps me to think
to have
of
a healthy
money.
relationship with money.
It helped me to think of money as an exchange of energy.
Yes.
It's literally an exchange of energy.
Right.
And if I'm putting out more, I know it's going to return to me.
Right. And if we think of money as a tool to get what we need and want, then it helps me. When I focus on the money, I've got the wrong focus. Yeah. It's on the feelings we want to get from the things we buy with the money is what we're after. And if we'll just keep that in perspective, but not fear money and not be afraid to make money or create money or generate wealth, not be afraid of it and not feel like when we receive money, we're taking from someone else, because we're not. It's, I read this morning about a candle, gives another candle a flame without taking anything from this one, you know. And it's the same way with love. When you give love away, you're just multiplying it. You're not subtracting. Yes. So if we would think of money that way, it's harder to see it because it's a physical thing that when I give you $1, then I don't have that dollar anymore. But in reality, when I give you that $1, a multitude's coming my way because of the giving, depending on my attitude when I give it.
Yeah.
So,
and your attitude when you're saying
right, and so that's what makes this harder for me is these are spiritual laws that are not tangible. We can't see them and see the logic behind them as easily as we can the law of gravity.
Right.
You know, so this is good stuff, and this was a good chapter on talking about whether it's right or not to be wealthy or to have money, because I think it's taboo for so many people that it holds them back. It's a block that gets in the way, and the whole point is not to fall in love with money, but just to get rid of that block that keeps it away from us. Yeah, really good stuff.
That is good stuff.
Yeah, shrink.